So Martin, we're in the thick of it now. Calves coming out onto the ground. What do we need to do with them as soon as they arrive?
Right, for me, Helena, this is what I call calf nursery. This is the way I approach it on farms as part of our calf rearing system. So from day 0, getting into that day 3, 4, what are we doing here? So the key thing, first of all, get the calf away from sources of infection. We try and get the calf away from mum and the calving area as soon as we can, preferably before they stand and start to suck any manure off the hair or the tail or whatever it is. If we're moving calves that fast, we need to get them under a heat source, particularly Feb, March, or certainly at night time. So we want them under a red lamp for 12, 24 hours. So I have certain rules on that. Get them fed under heat, and we get them out of that environment then when we're on second feed. So colostrum is our next piece there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, we're always talking about colostrum and how important it is, but really it's a basic we have to get right, because it's going to affect the calf for the rest of their lives, really.
Absolutely. So that first feed is the most important piece of nutrition for that animal's life as a future milker. So we got to think of it that way. But again, we've got to be practical. What's practical here? Getting enough in quick enough. So the golden hour, right? We've got to think of that first of all. Get enough in. And remember our calf sizes again. We could be down to these very small 32, 33 kilo calves, but we're probably looking at getting 3 litres into these animals if at all possible. But it must be 3 litres of something that's of value, right? So if we spend the money in vaccination, every litre of colostrum to me is worth about a tenner, right? That's the way you got to approach it. And I've got to make sure that colostrum coming out of that cow is good enough. So we've a couple of things here that we actually can use to test colostrum. This is a refractometer. Basically, we just take a little bit of colostrum, a small little drop that goes on the front vision part. It's covered over by a slide, and we look through the eyepiece. And there's a scale inside that will tell you what percentage it's at. So if it's over 22%, happy days, we've got very good quality colostrum. If we've got good colostrum, we can feed that to our calf, and we can work away. So we got to get in as fast as we can. If they'll drink it, if you get to them in the hour, they generally have enough suck and they'll drink it. If not, we're going to tube it in, just consistently tube it in, using an easy feeder.
And would you test every colostrum taken from every cow, or would you stick with heifers, specific cows?
Yeah, so again, with all this stuff, there's nice to do and need to do, right? That's what we got to think of. So look, in the early part of the season, I'm going to get in my colostrum. I'll take whatever colostrum is coming at me, because I've got my heifers in there at the start of the season. So I'm going to take whatever I can. I mightn't have the volumes, and I'll get it in. What I will do is I'll ask my vet, second week of February, will you test 12 calves 1 to 5 days of age? Do a blood test on them. They'll check the level of protein inside in that calf's blood, and it'll tell them, is your colostrum system working? And I'll repeat those another 12 calves 1 to 5 days of age, first week of March. So what you do is you see how your colostrum system is working. If the calf tests are telling you that it's all good, keep going, close your eyes, use your colostrum well. If the vet is telling you that those calves are just a little bit shy, that not enough of them have got good enough colostrum, then we revert back, we start to test and look how we're storing and how we're managing all of that colostrum.
And that's the point, isn't it, with colostrum, and that's why we're always harping on about the timing. We need to get antibodies into the calf, because they're not born with any immunity to all the bugs that they're immediately exposed to. But there's only a certain amount of time where the gut is able to absorb those proteins. So we need lots of proteins and antibodies in the colostrum, good quality colostrum, using your vaccine to increase your antibodies against your rotavirus, coronavirus and E. coli, and then getting that colostrum in while the calf's gut is able to absorb it and set them up then for life.
Sets them up for life. The 2 things that are going to affect your colostrum quality, 2 big things. When you milk the cow, every hour you leave her that after calving that you're not milking her is deteriorating that colostrum. So the quicker we milk her, the better it gets. The second thing is dirt. High levels of bacteria inside in colostrum prevent the absorption of colostrum. So those are the 2 things we need to master. So the milking is up to you, okay, how you do it and when you do it. And most of us have enough cows calving, we can get them into parlours and get them milk fast. We can generally then, we got to manage the dirt in that, so that's down to storage. It must go into a clean container, put a lid on it, chill it down, just stand that that bucket of colostrum into the water truck inside in the parlour, they'll chill it down, and then pop it into the fridge, and it'll keep for about 48 hours in there. If you want to retain colostrum long term, then we freeze some of that, and it'll last in your freezer for about a year, as long as it goes in clean and as long as it goes in chilled, which is important. So from a hygiene perspective, colostrum is not a golden magic fluid. It will grow bacteria like lightning because it's full of blood and full of cells and so on. So the equipment must be super clean. And what I mean super clean is, the simple test for any milk equipment is get your fingernails and rub the inside. If you come up with gunge on your fingernails, what you've done is you've created a biofilm in the plastics. And that's often created by washing out milk with 80 degrees Celsius water out of the geyser in the milking parlour. That's a real bad idea. You burn that protein and fat onto the inside of the plastic. Rinse off all milk first with cold or lukewarm water under 50 degrees, and then you can look at washing it, or you can look at sterilising it. And I'm lazy, so I'll just get these type of containers. Once the milk is rinsed out, I'll pop them into a container full of dilute peracetic acid, maybe 1 to 500, 1 to 1000, and I'll leave it sit there for a few hours. I'll take it out, shake it off, and I'll use it. It'll be sanitized. I won't say sterilized, it'll be sanitized. And you can do then a full cold water system. So a lot of guys that I work with will have a big IBC tank, maybe 300-400 litres of water in it, a second one beside it that's plumbed in with cold water. We rinse off all the milk and then drop everything into the IBC with a little bit of peracetic. That solution will last a day, let it off, and that'll keep your equipment sanitized.